of the house, the one they talking about, word of mouth. The boxing playhouse, without a doubt. All the latest and greatest boxing news, that's what it's all about.
Welcome to Boxing Playhouse After Dark, but ladies' night tonight. First Thursday of every month, you have Sakura A here with Emilio Santana.
What's up, y'all?
And we are so excited about our guest tonight. I know you guys are going to want to hear a lot about everything that she's accomplishing in her particular sport as a WBA champion for females, as well as being a new actress with Tribeca accolades. So I can't wait to talk to her a little later. But until then, of course, you know we got to talk about our hot topics tonight. And first up, everybody wants to talk about this subject. It's been the hottest topic for the last week and a half. What do you think? Javonte Tank Davis's performance. Like it?
I thought Tank did a good job. He went up in two weight classes for the young undefeated champion. Took him a few rounds to figure his opponent out, but he made some adjustments and he came through like a real champ. Ended the show in spectacular fashion. So I was impressed with Tank.
Yeah, he did an amazing job at finishing. Once he knew he was in trouble, or that the scorecards might have been close, he kicked it into that Tank Davis gear and was able to deliver one of the most powerful body punches of the year so far. So do you feel that Barrios has anything to be ashamed of? Or?
Nah, I don't think he has nothing to be ashamed of at all. He probably gained more fans from this performance here, because up until the stoppage, it was very close. And I think it was he might have been winning, or it might have been a tie on an unofficial scorecard. So Barrios, he could lift his head, man. He could look at this tape, regroup, learn from it. I think his stock has rose.
You're absolutely right. I'm a huge Barrios fan now. Mario, anytime he fights anyone, I'll be sure to be there cheering him on with that performance. A lot of people thought, because they didn't know Barrios, that he was going to be a slacker, or he was going to be, someone that wasn't going to be able to handle Tank's power or his skill level. But he proved a lot of people wrong. And this goes to show you what I always try to tell people. Just because you don't know a boxer don't mean that they're not a boxer. Doesn't mean that they're not a warrior. It doesn't mean that they don't rise to the occasion of their opponent. So we need to start doing better as boxing fans in establishing the fact that, hey, I don't know that much about this particular boxer, but I'm willing to check him out. Let's see what he can bring to the table. And for Barrios, he delivered 110% with his performance right up until he ran out of steam, and Tank kicked into his big, amazing power punching that we all love. And Atlanta was down. They loved it.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great night, man. It was exciting. Tank came in, and he did his thing, ripped them body shots, man. And even that backflip at the end of the fight, I was impressed with.
Well, did you know that was like a dig to Tio? Yeah, I didn't know that was a dig to Tio.
That's what I'm hearing. That was a more spectacular backflip than Tio. Tank came off the top rope.
Yeah, he was like, hey, I can do it too, and I can do it better.
Yeah.
Because that was a huge backflip. Very high. So what do you think is next for Tank? That's our next question, is where do you think Tank should go from here? Lots of options. What do you think he'll decide?
Man, he do got a lot of options. Me personally, I would like to see him, clear the air at the lightweight division. He got a lot of talent right there. Lomachenko fought that night. Look impressive. That's a potential opponent. You got Ryan Garcia, another young hot prospect, champion prospect that's been calling out Tank. That's a big money fight. You got Devin Haney And then you got the undisputed champion, Teofimo Lopez. So, man, he got some major, some good fights down there with some young, competitive champions. Even Shakur Stevenson on the rise up can be a fight down the future. Or if you do decide to stay at junior welterweight, you got Regis Prograis. There was some news with him going back and forth with words with Tank, Then you got Josh Taylor. It's a lot of competition and a lot of directions the young Tank can go in. So only time will tell. Mm-hmm. We heard Floyd Mayweather say we want to keep it in-house. So that's another topic right there. If they're going to keep it in-house, who's in-house that he can fight, that makes sense and that the fans will want to see. So we'll see.
Well, let's give a shout out to some of our fans that's viewing right now. We got Linda Platt, the legendary photographer.
Linda.
Hi, Linda. We miss you.
What's up, Linda? And
then we got Chuck, who's another photographer from the days of Camacho and being in the Crunk Gym.
Legendary right there.
Yeah, so shout out to Chuck. And he says Floyd took him to the end, got him up for the win. All right, so you're giving credit to Floyd Money Mayweather for his inspiration and mentorship, but should he be in the corner is a lot of questions that's being asked now. Should he not just go ahead and formally join the team as a coach? I mean, he looked good doing it. He definitely knows what to tell a boxer, and he would not lie to Davis. So those are things that coaches really need to have.
And them encouraging words that he told Tank reminded me of back in the day when Angelo Dundee told Sugar Ray Leonard, he said, "You blowing it, babe," when Sugar Ray was losing to Tommy Hearns. And then right after Angie told Ray Leonard went in there and took Tommy Hearns out, just like how Floyd, he told Tank, he said, "You're losing, man. Show me what you made of. Show me that you're great." And Tank went out there, man, and showed Floyd Mayweather, hey, this is me. I'm here. I'm a superstar, pay-per-view star. And he went in there and he took Barrios out. So I like what I saw in there. Now, should Mayweather be in the corner? That's another topic.
Well, I mean, among other things that we could talk about is Coach Calvin, when he said, stop all this headhunting and go to the body. And guess what? Davis listened.
Yeah.
So for me, that rose his stock for me as a boxing fan and how I was on the fence with Davis on certain levels. But when you're willing to listen to your coach and you actually execute what they ask you to do, you're 100. I'm 100% behind you, and you are 100% that guy. Because who else? I mean, there's so many boxers. You ask the coach what is the most attribute, the attribute that they're most looking for in a boxer. And they always tell me, do they listen? I'm looking for the guy that actually listens. Right. So Javonte Tank passed that with flying colors. So now for me, I want to know who some of our other fans, like Ronnie Esack. What's up, Ronnie? I want to know what you guys feel about who Javonte Tank Davis should fight next. I mean, it is a Ryan Garcia that needs to return to the ring. He would bring an entire group of YouTube fans and followers from social media platforms to a mega fight with Davis. Then you do have a Josh Taylor sitting there at 140, which he just grabbed a belt from Barrios, who is unified champion. But apparently, they don't think that he's well enough established here in the U.S. to make a mega fight. And then, of course, you have Lomachenko, who performed wonderfully in his fight this past weekend as well on the ESPN Plus platform. Tell us, which one of these do you feel is the best? And do you feel that Lomachenko would be a great opponent?
I think that's a great opponent, but I know Lomachenko, he got his eyes on a rematch with Teofimo, so I don't see that fight happening no time this year. Possibly next year. It depends.
Are you saying you think that he'll actually fight Teo? You think that this rematch is really going to happen between him and Lomachenko and Teofimo?
I mean, that's the direction it look like it's heading, but things can change at the drop of a dime, man. And tomorrow could be a whole new scenario. So I mean, right now that's what it looked like, but you know,
Yeah.
Tank could say something, man, and all that could change. So it's hard. It's hard to say. You know, there's a lot of options out there, and we just have to wait and see.
Well, for me,
And you really can't, you know, put nothing in cement until they actually sign something, because there's a lot of back and forth and matches don't happen. So I don't like to get excited until these dudes actually sign some contracts.
well, you know what? For me, I actually am thinking that the fight between Lomachenko and Teofimo will happen because they're in the same top rank, stable of
Right.
fighters. It's in-house fight, which we all know that Bob Arum loves an in-house fight, and he will match up he would play his chess pieces at each other in order to get that coin. So I don't see a reason why there shouldn't be a rematch, being that there would not be that much negotiations between different factions, or as my colleague James over at Heavy Bad Boxing calls, cartels. He calls the promotional companies now cartels. And you can see us over there on Heavy Bad Boxing on Tuesdays with the Tough Talk Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, Carice Taz Brown is in the house. She said, "We
Golden
love
child.
you, Boxing Playhouse."
Right.
And I
Love you
seen
back, Taz.
Tito V in the house. What's up, Tito?
Tito, what's up?
And we got Jose Ocasio. He's in the house saying, "Let's get it, Boxing Playhouse."
316, 17.
You know we will get it with y'all team on board. We sure will. And then we got Linda. She says, "I'm just listening and enjoying the conversation." All right. That's what I love about Miss Linda. So let's move on the conversation to previous week before the Tank Davis fight, when we had Jamal Charlo fighting. I mean, did Morrell Jr., was he able to give Charlo any pushback? Was this an easy give me fight for him? Or, as some people think, they didn't think he looked that great in that fight.
Yeah, he tested Jamal, Big Charlo. He did test him. He even swole his eye up a little bit. You know, his stock might have dropped a little bit. You know, some people felt like he looked a little vulnerable and felt like he's not ready for some of the other big names. You know, maybe this fight was good. Maybe this fight might help him get some of the other names. But I don't know. He got the job done. It was a tough fight. But
True.
There's a lot of questions being asked right now about Big Charlo.
Well, it's a situation where you're not going to be able to look good against everyone. And as your opponents get to a certain prize level, then there are going to be difficulties. But in the back of my mind, I just have to say that sometimes you're better off when you don't look as good. Sometimes you look vulnerable for a reason, because you want a big fight. And you know that big fight is going to be even more elusive if you look 120% ready. So I'm not sure that Jermell didn't just take this opportunity to look a little vulnerable and kind of, not push the gas pedal with Morrell Jr. No disrespect to him. But I just feel like, he didn't really put the gas to the pedal when it came to beating him or ending the fight, with a big, knockout type punch. So I'm thinking that there's more behind that. I know boxers are not supposed to do that, and they want to look good in their fights. But I also think in the climate that we have today, with the different promotional companies and people not wanting to fight the best in certain divisions, that it doesn't hurt to look a little, compromised.
Yeah, and sometimes these fighters tend to overlook, a guy they feel ain't on their level, and that guy that they feel like ain't on their level rise to the occasion, because this is his chance to, shine and make a name for himself. So
right,
sometimes that could be the situation, man. You got ring rust, these guys ain't fighting like they, once or twice a year, so it ain't like the old days where guys stayed sharp. So I don't know. Maybe he can go back, get back in the gym and get some more fights. This year. I hate these long layoffs and 2 fights a year type thing. You know, I think it's hurting, you know, the game and a lot of these fighters.
All right. So for right now, these are all the times that we have for the past fights. We do want to send a shout out to some of our other boxers that were on some of these undercards that put on a hell of a show. Apparently, we missed. Yes, Boxing Playhouse is in the house of shame. We missed a fight this weekend on a Sunday night with Premier Boxing Champions and Fox Network, a cruiserweight bout. So it's a bout that everybody's been talking about, and that it could possibly have been one of the fights of the year, if not fight of the year. So if you have not had a chance to go back and watch it, it is on replay on the Fox Sports 2 channel. So try to find that with your respective Spectrum companies. I definitely have recorded it so we can go back and watch it. And then there also was a key boxer that was on the main event, a Cuban boxer, and I don't know why his name is eluding me right now, but I forgot his name. But
I know he's a southpaw.
He's a southpaw and he's a Cuban boxer. He has great pedigree, and he got rid of his opponent in the first round with the KO. So if you can go back and watch that card, it would be great. You'll be able to see that fight of the year contender.
Right.
So now we're going to take a short break so we can go to Who You Got. That's right. Yes, the segment where we to let you decide who you got in matchups that's coming up soon.
Yeah. This is how we do it right here. Check it. Yeah.
You remember me actually getting up and going with you though.
You know, I witnessed some violence in my house growing up.
She wanted her dad to be around, but he was not, and he was angry all the time.
So I was fearful of him. You know, I really didn't have anybody else to turn to but myself. I was like, well, maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's my fault he left. Maybe it's my fault my mom's sad. It's my fault that I'm different. It's my fault that I don't know whether I like boys or girls.
Kaylee was raised in the native way. Yeah, there's that prejudice. You're not black enough, or you're not native enough.
I was always fighting for something, fighting for approval, fighting for love, fighting for acceptance.
You have to show them that you know who you are, and you stand up for who you are and your ancestors.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
From where I come from, girls ain't supposed to be boxing.
He would brush me off.
I hadn't taken it serious, I guess.
There's been so many people that's given up on me and just thrown a towel, but I will never give up on me.
Talk back to me. I'll throw you the fuck out the gym. See you work. Let's go, let's go. Boom. Right? Give it back. Good. Hey, 1, 2 right there. Not bad, girl.
What's the definition? At times I'm ashamed, man, it's foolish how we living. Glorifying crime like it's cool to be in prison. Instead of fighting negatives, we do it to our women. Domestic abuse is affecting the youth.
First Native American woman to win a world championship. She's the first Native American fighter to win the IBA middleweight crown.
Legendary status, they'll remember us forever. We need to pave the way for the future generation. Show them that there's more than parties on the reservation. Show them the importance of a proper education.
I fight for all nations.
You're the only person that can change your situation.
All right. Well, where are we at? All right, there we go. Sorry about that interruption. That was our guest that's coming up soon for our Ladies Night edition, baby. And her name is Kaylee Reis. So as soon as we get through with our who you got, there's basically only 2 fights that's on our radar, so we can get Kaylee on here. The first one is going to be Colbert. That's right, Chris Colbert versus King Tut. What do you think? Now, this was originally supposed to be the Gamboa as an opponent, but due to his collarbone injury, we got Tugs instead. Good replacement, or what do you think?
Some people think that he's a better replacement than Gamboa. Like, he's going to give Colbert some better work. We'll see. You know, I like Colbert. You know, he's young, he's flashy. You know, he got the power. He's a southpaw. You know, he's down in that division. You know, that lightweight, junior lightweight division where it's hot at. So, you know, he talks a big game. I'm excited to see this fight this weekend. You know, I hope the dude give him some good work. So we'll see.
All right. So the next fight we have is Charlo. And I'm sorry, earlier I was mixing up the 2 names.
Jamal.
Yeah, Jamal is the bigger, the big Charlo that just had the fight against Morrell Jr. And Jermell is getting ready to have a unification bout with Brian Castano. Do you think this is going to be a good fight? It is a unified belt, so title fight. So do you feel like this is going to give us what we all want as fans, which is tough competition?
I don't think this guy going to beat Charlo. I like the fact that Charlo's, you know, unifying these belts, you know, and be one champion in a minute, you know, and he could just face all top, you know, challengers. But I don't know, this dude, he might get interesting for a few rounds, but I don't see him beating Jamel Charlo at all. To me, Jamel Charlo is the top dog in that division, and, you know, I just don't see it. It might be interesting for 4 or 5 rounds, but after 4 or 5 rounds, I think Jamel going to figure the dude out and get him out of there.
Well, you know, I am a fan of Brian Castano, so I love to root for a good underdog in this case, because Lil Charlo, which he don't like to be called that, since Jermell is such a good boxer and he's a great fighter, he knows how to win. He's only had that one defeat, as we know, against Tony Harrison. So I think we can look forward to this being a great fight between the 2 of them. But basically, I do feel that his size and his tenacity and will to win is going to have us a new unified belt holder. So I do think that that's something that Jermell is going to secure.
Right. Is that fight Saturday?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me see. When is that fight? Because they got it as Saturday, July 17th. So not this Saturday. Yeah. And it's going to be a Showtime boxing event. So that's pretty cool. This weekend will be Colbert.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to take a break and introduce our guest, Mrs. WBA Super World. Wait a minute. She's a WBA World Champion for the Super Lightweight Division, Kaylee Reis.
Kaylee Reis, y'all.
Keep touching. Little touches. Just get loose. Step back. Jab. 1, 2. 1, 2. Get. Now go under. Yup. Yup. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Under. Double it. Okay, so you just watched a promo from Kaylee Reis's acting debut, in which she received a Tribeca Award for her performance. And the name of the movie is Catch the fair one. And it's also another great thing about Kaylee, which is that she is an advocate for missing Indigenous women. So she's going to tell us more about her efforts to bring awareness to this absolutely just terrible and disgusting issue in which we have women that are being taken from reservations. Either they are either killed or raped, or they are put into servitude. So as part of the sex trade. So
Man,
Kaylee,
I was gonna say, wow, that was some great acting. I'll give her an Oscar right now, y'all.
I know she did do that. She did that.
I can't wait to see that.
So let's get Kaylee Reis on here, Miss WBA World Champion. Woo!
What up? What up?
Oh, darling.
How you doing? Nice to see y'all again.
What's up, Kaylee?
Oh, definitely. You have been one busy lady, ma'am. Oh my goodness. Now, a lot of people didn't have a good 2020 year, but I think you did pretty good. Let's see, you got engaged. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And then you had the acting gig with this amazing movie that was at the Tribeca Film Festival that received accolades. And of course, you also got your WBA championship right here in the Tampa area and St. Pete last November. Yeah. Get it.
Yeah.
So you just had a really amazing year, and you're continuing to grow and just be an advocate. That's what I love to see. And I'm really interested in, what it is that you want to accomplish by, talking about this issue and getting getting the message out there that, hey, these ladies, they're Native Americans, and, we need to acknowledge the fact that they are being taken advantage of.
Well, first of all, thank y'all for having me once again. I appreciate it. It's always a fun time.
Welcome.
PlayHouse. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, 2020 was tough for everybody. We made it through, but personally for me, it was tough. I lost my dog, which was my son. I lost my grandmother. I lost my father, actually in the training camp leading up to the fight. So 2020 was one of those definitely growing years, but it definitely ended off on a better note. But it was a year of expansion, inner, spiritual, career wise. So I'm very thankful for that. It was just one of big transition for me. So I'm very thankful. Like you said, I got engaged. I won my WBA title, and we shot that movie actually at the end of 2019, probably about 2 weeks before, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the pandemic really started to hit. So we actually got really blessed to be able to actually get that film out there. This is a project that I had been working on with director Joseph Vladika, since 2017. It's like one of those things. It was a project in the making. So, long story short, he found me on social media. He slid into my DM, basically. He told me that he had a story, and he had, he had his own accolades. He did a movie already. He's a very well accomplished TV director, and he just told me about a story that he had about a woman that lost her sister. He had just started learning about missing and murdered Indigenous women himself. So he just asked me if I ever been interested in acting, and he just came up to Providence, Rhode Island, where I was living, and we just basically talked about an idea. And from 2017 to when we shot, he just wanted me to be a creative partner in the process. Basically, he knew I had a platform that I built to bring awareness to Native American issues and really standing up and an advocate for missing and murdered Indigenous women. So, it started off as a whole different type of story, but then I had my creative input, and just because that issue is so near and dear to my heart, I was a huge part of the creative process, helping writing the story. And from then till now, to Tribeca, to this whole movie and this whole venture, here we are. And it's kind of parallel to what I do on my boxing platform, to just bring those issues
Right.
and bring things that I really want to bring awareness to in front of people that don't know about it. So that's kind of where that is, and now here we are.
Wow, what a story. And I mean, everybody, I mean, this on Tribeca's website, you can go and get a little more information about this film. I know right now, is it still streaming from there, or do you have to wait until it's released again to the big
So
screen?
that was just our world premiere via Tribeca. I mean, big shout out to Tribeca for even being the first in person film festival post COVID, or like
Yeah.
since we've been in COVID. So that was exciting, and even for taking on this type of film with such a big message. It's not a comedy. It's a very, very dark movie, but it was necessary. It's a necessary story to tell. So big ups to them. And their film festival is done now, but here's the fun part. Now we wait for a distributor to pick it up, and i.e. a streaming platform or theaters, but y'all gonna have to wait and see. I get the inside scoop, but wherever the universe wants this film to be, wherever it's going to get the most eyes, that's all I want for this film, and it's going to end up where it needs to. So it's not in my hands no more.
Right.
I've done all the work, you know what I mean? So let's see where it ends up.
Kelly, I went to the gas station earlier, and this dude was trying to sell me a bootleg of that movie already.
Probably. I'm sure people are already trying to bootleg. I know y'all are all filming that. I know people at the premiere.
So they can't be doing that. They don't need to be doing no bootleg.
I'm sure if you get on your Fire Stick, it's probably already on there and whatnot, man. But it's all good. I don't even care, man. As long as y'all see it, you know what I mean?
As long as they see it, because the message is very clear, that we definitely have a problem right here in the United States. It's not just overseas with the sex crimes and taking advantage of women overall, but especially on the Native American reservations, we're seeing women totally being exploited, and nobody in the mainstream media actually, covering it.
No, that's a problem. I mean, we since the colonizers laid their big toe on Turtle Island, what we call the United States now, women, Native American, indigenous women, indigenous people have always been looked at as weak, and indigenous women have been sexualized by colonizers, whether it's here on the United States, South America, anybody indigenous to their land. I don't know what it is in
Mm-hmm.
colonized. I'm not just talking about white people. I'm talking about colonizers. If you want to, split atoms here, we can say white people, but I'm
Right.
talking about colonizers. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is in their minds, but they just feel like they're entitled, and they sexualize indigenous women. So now in the modern day, you have, not just reservations, because I've had family members, distance family members, and closest family members that happen to be indigenous, and are just sexualized. We're exotic. You know what I mean? We're something that nobody really sees around. You know what I mean? And when you want to get down to reservations and jurisdiction issues, these perpetrators know that there's jurisdiction, i.e., tribal police versus state and government police. Whereas if you're non-native and commit a crime on native land, it gets messy. It gets real messy, to say it in layman's terms. You know what I mean? So and not to quote the movie, but nobody's looking. Because nobody cares, because, like you said, it's not on mainstream media. If a little white girl goes missing, it's on CNN, it's on America's Most Wanted. She could be across the street. But if a native woman, and native girls, boys, men, women, native people go missing every day, it's not something that happened in the past. A big thing that I was really big on to try to explain to people, to get them to understand, is recently all these pipelines that are being dug between Canada and the United States. From Canada and the United States, they have these territories. Number one, they're going through treaty territories, where they're breaking treaties, and they're going through homelands, and they're destroying homelands on native territory. That's number one. Number two, you're bringing these man camps of workers for 5-year contracts to dig these for this oil to go through, the pipelines to go through. They're there for
Right.
weeks, months, years at a time. These man camps. It's a high demand for women. You know what I mean? There's Native American reservations around those camps. So that sex trafficking, there's a market for it. If there's a market for it, people are gonna hustle it, whether it's drugs, women, whatever, and especially in those man camps when nobody's looking. You know what I mean? This was recently. I don't know if you saw my post on Tuesday, Minnesota. They did a sting operation where there was 2 out of 6, I guess, involved in this sex trafficking operation on a pipeline site. This is a
I was
real
going to ask you about that. So now you're saying basically that these pipelines are coming in for the oil and everything that they're extracting from the land that they shouldn't be on. But nevertheless, that these pipes are now being used in order to traffic the women through that they've kidnapped.
So basically, yeah. I mean, when you have a big contract like that, you obviously have workers that are union workers, whatever. They're just workers, predominantly men. I mean, it's a man job, but they're there for months and years at a time, and they get lonely or whatever. But they also hear it through the
Right.
grapevine, whatever. They hear it word of mouth. There's these native girls or whatever. I know these markets. So, it's just you can use your imagination. They basically are bringing sex trafficking to areas that already have it already. They're making it more. I mean, if you look at statistics, Native American women starting at age 3, murder is third on our list for age 3. Murder and kidnapping. That's not right. That's
Say that again. You said murder's what?
number 3 on the list for Native American women, indigenous women, for cause of death. It's number 3. Starting to at age 3. It's either number 1 or number 3, starting at age 3. Why are we the leading in all the statistics? We're 10 times more likely to come across abuse and be murdered in our lifetime than any other race. But these are not statistics that are on mainstream media. When we had voting season, we were categorized as it was white, black, Latino, whatever, Asian, and then we were called something else. We are the original people of this land. How dare you? You know what I mean? It's time for us to stand up. There's so much that goes on in Native country, but Native American people know what goes on in Native American communities. It's time for us, somebody like me that's in front of somebody like you or whoever that don't know about these problems, and make it a big deal, because these are big fucking deals. This is a problem, man. Why should I have to worry about my little cousins or little girls that, that they're going to get targeted 10 times more targeted? That's not right. I have a family member that she was found in Florida when I was fighting in Florida, murdered. She was taken from Massachusetts and they found her in Florida. Like, this is not it. It's not cutting it for me.
It's just not right on any level, and it is the way you saying about the targeting of it, and the fact that the media seems to only, because they do this with African American missing children too, but it's also the Native Americans that also are overlooked when it comes to media exposure. Once you were talking about young women, young girls that are even being trafficked. I mean, this is like, pedophilia, the things that we don't want in our society. Anybody from any race doesn't want to see this type of exploitation. So I think it's important for you to keep continuing to bring and shed light to this particular cause. But a part of that has been your film that you worked on and you helped co-write, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you were able to just be able to take pieces of your own Native American experiences and add to the color of the script?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Joseph, man, he's one of my really good friends now, and he was so, respectful as far as to get my perspective, because even though I'm Native, I'm mixed, I'm Cape Verdean, Native American, I'm just a black Indian trying to do the damn thing in layman's terms, basically. So, I didn't grow up in your typical reservation setting. I'm not from the Midwest. I'm from the Northeast Coast, from the Wampanoag tribe. So he really took his time to get to know me and my story and my perspective of going around to different communities and getting other stories told to me, and just my experience from being an indigenous woman. So, like I said, he had a bare bones script, and it was just basically a woman who was looking for a sibling. And We kind of started out with a whole different script, and then the more and more research he did on the missing and murdered Indigenous women epidemic, this film was never geared to be an answer to the issue. It was just a way to spread awareness to this really dark world, and kind of really get eyes on Indigenous people represented in mainstream media and film. You don't see Native American actors in film. If you do, it's the
You're
same ones
right.
and the same. It's the same type of roles. They gotta be like, "Hey, I'm Native, and you are. Thank you, welcome." Like, it's stupid. Like, we can't. How come we can't be a badass in a movie? You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to start like it all across the board. You know what I mean? We don't have to have this one dynamic that we're in. Like, we could be superheroes. We could be like John Wick. You know what I mean? Come on. So I just basically helped write, like, kind of really pulled him into really exposing the darkness of it. I mean, there was times where, him as a male having to really have a female issue represented, he really took his time to make sure that we told it right, and got the themes of the film across. And that there were times where I was like, listen, bro, this ain't even dark enough. We have to be entertaining, and we have to, follow the guidelines. But so at when you get to see it, it's dark, but it's almost not dark enough. But it's kind of, tap dancing on that line where it's dark enough for you to kind of realize that this is a real problem, but you can use your imagination to kind of really fill in the blanks that we don't. That's why we did that. So,
I totally get what you're saying about the roles. Like, you're breaking another barrier by being able to break that stereotypical role that we see. And, usually I don't even see Native Americans unless it's like a, cowboy and Indian type, series.
Mohicans.
Yeah, or like, I love my Yellowstone now. I'm into my Yellowstone and my Longhorn. I like those series, but this is the only time that we actually get in to see Native Americans, and some of those are not really Native Americans that play these parts too. So I just got to give you kudos for being able to come into that role and step into that badass, chick role, on a mission for your family.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy. Like, everybody's asking me about how it was to actually play. There were so many parallels to my real life. I mean, she's a boxer. She's two-spirited. Her name is Kaylee. Like, there was, the more and more we created the story, the closer we got to my real life. So it was one of those things where it was, I guess, easier, but then again, it was a lot harder to tune in and then tune out, because especially for being the context of the film, because it was real, to actually put myself in that situation, to have to really play that situation so close. It was tough, but we did it, and I was just part of the creative process as far as my perspective and what needed to be told. I mean, Joseph is an amazing director, amazing writer, and I was just there as creative help. I had my home girl, I call my little brother, sister Shelly Vincent there. She's also a boxer. We wrote that part for her. Like, she had to be great. You know what I mean? There were just certain characters that we really honed in on to get these themes across in 86 minutes.
Go ahead.
Kelly, I just want to ask you, do you see yourself doing more movies? Is this something you want to continue doing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, funny story was that, I've always wanted to get into acting. My Native American name is McQuinnanog, which means many feathers, many talents. So, there was just something else I wanted to do outside of boxing. I've done like little things with my mom. Everybody in my family is very artistic, theatrical, musical. I just didn't really know how. I'm like, maybe I can get a cameo in like a Pepsi commercial. I don't know, something, you know what I mean? I just didn't really know how to. So about a week before Joseph hit me up, I just put it out to the universe. I was like, yo, if it's meant for me, then it will find me. A week to that day, he hit me up, and here we are. I mean, I definitely want to pursue it. It's just another art. It's, storytelling as an Indigenous person is just, this is our modern day storytelling. And apparently I'm not that bad at it, so why not? It was fun. It's back to boxing, and I definitely want to do it.
And the look you have, I can see you playing all kind of different ethnicities and different roles. I can see that.
That's true. Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
locked in.
Nobody ever knows what I am. If I told you I was half Korean, half
Join the crowd, sister.
Yep.
So, Kelly,
It's a
when's the
good
next
thing.
title defense?
Hopefully I have a big announcement coming very, very soon. I can't wait to like I know what it is, but I can't let everybody know yet. But very soon, sometime in August, I have a big announcement coming for a title defense, maybe something else, in the mix. But I'm really excited. I'm in camp right now. If you can't see, been sparring. I got one black eye.
Now, are you
right
going to remain at that weight class, or are you looking to move up in weight or something?
No, I'm comfortable at 140. I mean, I never thought I'd ever fight at 140, but without the guidance I've had most of my career, I should have been fighting at 47, 40 probably my whole career. So now we're gonna stay here. We gonna stay here. I like 40, 47.
Okay, because you are very good at that weight, and I mean, you give us some hellified fights. Don't forget, we were there when you won your title, and I was like so amazed at just how much of a brawler you can be, but then get technical when necessary as well. So, I mean, I was just really impressed with your fighting skills and the boxer that you are. But you also is like, you can get it down. You if somebody want to take you toe to toe, you know how to handle yourself and be there for that too.
I'm here for it all the smoke, whatever kind of smoke, man. And I'm just getting better, so it's real cool to see what I can learn. And then being in a lighter weight class, how better I can move. It's just boxing is one of those things you never know everything. So I
thought it was real cool that you were actually able to play that boxer in the movie in a way. And it just showed like the depth of the character, really, as far as being that type of person that has that mentality, that fight mentality, to not give up, and definitely not let people just tell you anything. Because in this movie, you're pursuing, you're having to get close to people that you really would just love to, basically, harm, being that they, your sister was, the actors. Well, the Role's sister and the major actor. Yeah, I'm sorry. She was in,
right.
Yeah. But I want to tell the whole story. We do have the promo that you provided for us. And let's just let people know why you were considered, why Catch the Fair One, the movie, won the Audience Award for the Best Narrative Feature at Tribeca 2021. Let's go ahead and roll that footage so people can see just how great Kaylee acts in this movie.
People don't know what MMIW means. They know what, a TikTok is, but they don't know what hashtag MMIW is. That's a problem. There's so many cold case files. It gets to the point where families are so afraid to report their missing loved one as Native for fear of getting them not looked for. Maybe if I report them as white, they'll get looked for. Maybe if I report them as Hispanic, they'll get looked for. But if I say Native, they're going to put it in a box and it's not going to get worried about.
Paula Castro Stops just found the exact spot where her daughter's body was discovered.
You have these camps of workers there for years and they're just there by themselves. They're in a different area, they're not home, but they know there's some exotic indigenous women here. There's a market for that. The sex market is ridiculous. Whatever sells, they're gonna harvest, whether it's drugs or women. And when you're in a certain area and they know there's a huge reservation full of Native girls that these other guys have never seen, they're going to get targeted. And if they know that nobody's looking for these girls and it's really easy to get them, they're going to get them. It's when people don't make it a big deal that these predators are going to keep on doing it. Since colonization, indigenous and Native American women have been targeted and just have been looked at as weak. They've been taking our women since they came here, taking our people since they came here, and since anybody has colonized any land. have younger cousins that have gotten trafficked. She's not a relative of mine per se, but she's of the Wampanoag Nation. Janasia, she was 18 years old. She got in a car with somebody she thought she knew, and she got taken away.
Today, police in Fellsmere, Florida, found a body in a field. They say it appears to be Finkley's body and that this appears to be a murder.
That was something that hit really close to home. I mean, I've heard so many different stories.
A Native woman goes missing, her tribal government cannot exercise any kind of police jurisdiction over that crime unless the government knows that the perpetrator was Native.
I just want to use my platform that I build with boxing. I have a voice for the voiceless. You know, these sisters, these people that are missing, they're gone. They don't have voices. So I have a voice, so I want to use it to bring awareness to problems that we have in our community. I mean, this film is in no way, shape, or form an answer. It's just an artistic interpretation to get eyes on something. You want to grasp eyes and get attention. Okay, here's a thriller, here's drama. It's a heavy role. It's a heavy context of a film, or even a context of a conversation, but I was honored to be able to tell the story. You know, I have a purpose, and just like what I do with boxing, if I had to, you know, film in the middle of November, December in the coldest place on earth in Buffalo, New York, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? If that's what I have to do, is a story that needed to be told. I by any means necessary, I was going to do it.
Let's clap. Woo! Oh my God, that is just amazing. Great. Like that just seems like it's riveting. And she looks like she was meant for TV, actually. Yeah. I thought she did really well at describing everything as, you know, in real time, and just the meaning and the reason behind doing such a project. I mean, Kaylee, you're just amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Kaylee, I want to ask you, shooting this film, was there any scenes that you had a problem with or didn't want to do, or was everything fine with you?
I mean, with the goal that we had with the film, I mean, it wasn't easy at all. Not one scene was easy because of you know, she was a boxer, but you know, the themes that we have in this film that we want to tell were the sadness, the sorrow, the sense of loss, the hopelessness. So she is a very, very broken character, you know, and outside of me being how I am, a very vibrant energy. I mean, I've been in some really dark places like we all have. So to have to bring that up again and really put myself in her body, in her situation, changing the way I talk, changing the way I even walked, and just kind of giving her a whole personality, the way she stands, the way she just is so just drained of life. You know what I mean? It was tough. The whole thing was tough. I mean, like I said, I don't know why my character couldn't find a North Face. I had like a swishy jacket on in Buffalo, New York. It was freezing, but nah, man, it was by any means necessary. I was going to do it. It was tough. It was grueling. I was in every scene. We had a 20-day shoot. That is extremely short in the film industry. I was working, you know, 16, 18, 20-hour days, 5 days a week, and still training. So yeah, it was tough, but I'm built for it.
Wow, that's what's up.
Wow, catch the fair one. You guys need to request it in your movie theaters, your local theaters, your different festivals. If you're going to a movie festival around here and you want to see this movie, please just reach out and request this movie. It is an amazing and really riveting, powerful message that we all should be aware of. And also let everybody know that you approve of MMIW, which, you know, basically is a situation where we have to like start doing our part. Even though hashtagging is not good enough, we can start there. And then we can also ask our local legislations to change the laws while they're changing this criminal reform that they keep talking about, that they change laws where if you are on a reservation that particular policing with the reservation should not have to go through a government jurisdiction in order to get a criminal that's not indigenous. You know, like there shouldn't be a situation where you can come as a citizen of the U.S. and go to a reservation and know that you're not necessarily going to be looked for. Like all criminals, anybody that does any type of sexual crimes or missing persons, missing women, children, missing men too, anybody that involves themselves in that should be across the board. You should be able to come after them. So we ask that you do that too. Kaylee, do you have any other tips or recommendations for people to be able to help?
I mean, just educate yourselves. I love when people ask questions. Bring these conversations up. Look, you have a phone if you might be watching it on now, computer. Just put in MMIW, get kind of some education on it. See what local tribes are in your state. There might be a bill that they're waiting to get passed, like the VAWA law, Violence Against Women Act, that protects women regardless of they're on indigenous land or they're not. I mean, there's all kinds of little things, but the biggest thing is just be aware. The more awareness, maybe the more preventative actions can be taken. The more also what really means everything to me is that us as indigenous people will feel like we're worthy to be cared for. So a lot of people, a lot of these victims may or may not be willingly letting themselves be taken because nobody gives a shit anyway, so whatever. There's a lot of we're leading in suicide, depression, drug addiction, and all that because of this.
Wow.
Just keep educating yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that's a positive message. Everybody needs to be more educated on something that is like so detrimental to women in this particular country, especially indigenous people. So I wanted to know exactly, I mean, I know you said you're going to make an announcement soon about whom you're going to be fighting, but to transition, I do want to know, like, do we have any dates, and can it be in the Tampa Bay area possibly?
Yeah, we needs to know.
We got to know.
It's going to be, I can say August. Maybe around my birthday or not, My birthday is August 24th. Maybe around my birthday in August. Definitely a title defense. Sometimes sanctioning bodies are a little difficult. So I want to fight anybody and everybody, especially 140 division is on fire right now. So just let this be known right here, right now, on July 1st, 2021. I do not duck nobody. I will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. If it make dollar to make sense. The politics in boxing sucks. So when you see me having to fight other people that may not be quote unquote up to par, trust and believe that I have one of the baddest teams in boxing, that we will fight anybody. I ain't scared of nobody that breathes air and bleeds blood like me. So just let that be known before y'all see it out there. Just have to say that.
Well, we seen it ourselves. We know it's true. We know Kaylee mean business. I mean,
yeah, I do.
Yeah, we seen that. So I'm hoping that it's somewhere where we can get to you and actually cover you during that particular bout. But if not, I also don't mind seeing you as a hostess, as a commentator, which you were able to do on the Heather Hardy card that was in Nashville, Tennessee.
That was fun. I love, like I said, I have revenue strings like Spider-Woman, man. I'm just shooting them everywhere. So I love commentating. I mean, I'm not going to box forever, and I do love speaking. I do public speaking, motivational speaking, and commentating. I love talking boxing. So my great promoter, Ludabella, gave me an opportunity to be on UFC Fight Pass with some really dope commentators, and you'll see me again, hopefully.
Oh, we needs that. I mean, where can I need to bubble him up an email. Like, we got to have Kaylee Reis. We want that representation. So
tweet him. He's on Twitter
24/7.
He be on Twitter tweeting, so tweet him.
I might just do that. You know me. You know how bold I get sometimes.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I love it.
Kaylee, you've done so many things, with the boxing and acting. I want to know, what do you feel is your biggest accomplishment?
Man, beating myself, that negative self-talk, that we all have inside our head. And, I stopped believing everybody else who told me I wasn't gonna be this, or I was gonna do this, I was gonna end up this place, and just really finally believing in myself that I was really able to accomplish so much. We talk about belts, they're great, the movie's great, but I do a lot with a purpose. So when I get those emails or those text messages or those inboxes from family members or a young kid who says, hey, I saw you on HBO fighting, or I seen this, and I see you're indigenous, and now my daughter wants to box, or she wants to do something because you're doing it, and now she feels like she can because you did. That to me is my biggest accomplishment. I mean,
I
belts are
like
great,
that.
but when I hear
Yes.
that, like, I've got so many I've gotten suicide emails, I've gotten so many emails, and when I see that me doing what I love and what I'm good at, what I found a purpose in, to represent a whole nation of people, affects people that deeply, when I go to these reservations and these different communities and it affects people in a positive way, that's my biggest accomplishment. I don't care, I'll retire right now, I don't need no belts. That's my goal, and that to me is so much more fulfilling than else and some money, like, seriously.
Yeah, it always means so much more when you know that you're affecting someone and helping even one person feel better and feel that they can make it through another day. Kaylee, we're so proud of you, and we look forward to seeing you in even more of your movies, as well as the boxing ring. We love you there. So please just keep us informed, and just let us know how we could help you in any way with the missing indigenous women movement that you have.
Absolutely. I mean, I post a lot, especially because I have a lot more eyes on me now. With the recent findings, I don't know if y'all follow this, but the residential schools are a big thing that of the past and current right now. There's been mass graves of children that's been dug up with these residential schools. That's it's a big, heavy issue that kind of ties into missing and murdered indigenous people. The last
Mm-hmm.
residential school was closed in 98. I mean, this is in my lifetime, you know what I mean? So this is just a really big healing time for Native American people. Anything that you see, any information, just keep pumping it out. I mean, I put out as much information as I can. You can research and just keep pumping it out. I mean, I'm not like the native mogul and like but I do
Right.
try to put
You do what you can
information.
do.
I do what I can do so other people can ask questions, or other people can Google stuff and find even more organizations and just information to pump it out there, because now that we're making it a big deal, that's why these mass graves are getting dug up. That's why these residential schools by these Roman Catholic people that had these schools for hundreds of years, taking these kids away from their families and just trying to ruin them. I mean, I know everybody heard that phrase, kill the Indian, save the man. That's where that phrase
Yes.
came from. They were trying to get rid of our people. And me even sitting there talking to you today, know where I come from, that's an accomplishment itself. So just, anything you see, reshare it, ask me questions. You know me, I'll answer as much as I can.
Well, you're one of the dopest people that we know, and I'll definitely text you. I know how to DM you. You see how I slide in like, hey, I need my interview.
Yes, man, anytime.
Well, how can we find you on your social media for those fans that are still with us here tonight that want to know?
So I actually do use Twitter now. I wasn't tweeting, but I find out that Twitter is like where it's at. So I'm on Twitter, KO underscore, I think MOC86. Hold up, let me check. I'm on Instagram like crazy, at KO underscore NDNBXR, and I'm gonna give you my Twitter right now. That's terrible. I don't know my own Twitter. That's so horrible. Yeah, it's KO underscore Reis, Reis 86 on Twitter. And for my people who still use Facebook, because I do keep Facebook around, it's KO Kaylee, Kali, Reis, Reis. Facebook, I'm pretty, humble, and I keep it clean because I got a lot of kids and elders that follow me. Instagram, I really like enter at your own risk. Twitter, I give no fucks. So just enter at your own risk. There's levels, so you can find me all there. Hopefully there's a Kaylee Reis website coming at some point. But I do have some merchandise. I have another announcement very, very soon. Finally, I'll have some merchandise. I'm linked up with some really dope people, so look out for that.
Kaylee, before you go, I want to get one quick prediction. Who you got, Pacquiao or Spence?
Pacquiao's my man, yo. I'm sorry. I like Spence. Love Spence. But Pacquiao, man.
Pac-Man?
Don't sleep on Pac-Man. I like Spence. Don't get me wrong. I like Spence. He's one of the fighters now that's doing big things. But yo, I'm a Pacquiao fan. Pacquiao, he has such weird angles and he fights how he fights. You can't teach that. And he's dedicated. I don't care how old he is, man. I'll just go with Pac-Man.
Okay.
It's hard to go against Pac. You know, it is definitely hard to go against Pac, especially after he beat Thurman in his last fight. So I think I'm gonna have to ride out with Pac too.
Callie, can you do MMA like Clarissa did?
Bruh, no.
No.
More power to Clarissa, man. Big ups, big shout out, boo. I hit her up. I'm like, girl, you got that, because I don't want. It takes, I would love to train for it, but I'm, I ain't 25. I'm almost 35. But I respect everybody in MMA. That's not my cup of tea. And as soon as that bell ring, I'll be tapping out. Because as soon as you look like you about to choke me, I'm good. Much respect to it. I love the game. I like watching it, but maybe in another lifetime. If I had the years to train for, absolutely, I love it. I can probably do it, but nah, man, nah. I don't want nobody sitting on my face that has to be there. I'm good.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, MMA is not for every girl, that is for sure. But you probably could hold your own. You probably would be surprised. As we've seen you. We got Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, Luis Camacho. He's a trainer. Yeah, Luis Camacho. He's 83 years old and in amazing shape, dancing and everything.
Ooh, the man can dance.
He was doing the moves, girl, the other weekend, but he said this is a very interesting topic and he has learned something today. Thank you. So that was cool.
Thank you so much. God bless you, man. Get it in 83. I hope I'm like
yeah, and he's learned something today. That tell you how obscure the topic is and how it's not getting enough publicity. And then we got Luis Acevita. He said, deep convo, yo. And then CJ, he's finally saying he's home. Brian Meadows says boxing PlayHouse.
Brian, what's up?
Yeah, we love Brian. And then we got John, the Florida boxing judge and ref, as well as Alabama. John. And he's chiming in saying he loves boxing PlayHouse. So we thank all of our guests that's been tuning in for this great show. Kaylee, please, can you come back another day for us?
Absolutely. I told y'all anytime, man. I'll make some time for y'all. And when I have the big announcement, hopefully, good God, I hate holding secrets, but it will be really soon. But anytime, man. I love coming on here talking. I'll talk about anything and everything.
Yeah, that's great. And of course, we got to pick on you a little bit because you look like
the beautiful Shantae Moore.
Shantae Moore. But y'all in those dimples. I mean, y'all even got the same dimples. That is crazy to me.
I'll take it, man. I've heard a few, but that was first. I was like, oh yeah, they right. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, when you saw the picture, you were like, oh yeah, I see it. All right, man. Whatever. Yeah. So, guys, we'll see you next week. Please make sure you tune into our show every Thursdays at 8 p.m. We want to send a warm salutations out to Kaylee Reis for being with us tonight.
Thanks, Kaylee. We appreciate it so much.
And we also want to send prayers out to all the indigenous people that are missing family members tonight. We hold you deep in our prayers, as well as praying for Emilio's father as well to have a nice recovery. And we'll see you next week at this particular time. Until then, Boxing PlayHouse.
All right, Kaylee.
Yo, later. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. This is how we do it right here. Check it. Yeah.
Keep touching. Little touches. Just give it.
2, 3, under.